Hello, Algebra 2 folks, and welcome to Writing Polynomial Functions. So you need your notebook, a calculator, a pen or a pencil, and your thinking cap. All right, let's get started. So if you would recall from Chapter 4, when we had intercept form of a quadratic, it was in the form of a times x minus p and x minus q. Remember p and q were the x-intercepts? Okay, so this section, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about a cubic function. And basically all we're going to do is add another factor, or in this case, add another x-intercept. So instead of having PQ and just P and Q, we're going to have PQ and R. Okay, so what you need to know is you need to write this down, that this is what the general formula, this is the general equation for a cubic function when we're trying to find the equation. So what we're going to do is we're going to use this to help us get the equation where we want it to be. Okay, and then remember P, Q, and R are our x-intercepts of our graph. All right, so let's go ahead and try one. Now when I look at this graph, I know a few things about this graph. I know that it crosses the x-axis 3 places, 1, 2, and 3. I know that it has 2 turns, therefore it should be an x to the third, which is a cubic function. Okay, so we're on the right track because we want a cubic function. And then we should know that the slope, or the a in front of the equation, is going down to the right. Therefore, we should know that that leading coefficient is probably going to be a negative value. So when we come over here and actually go through and do all the work, our leading coefficient should be a negative value. All right, so let's go ahead and try this. We'll do f of x equals a, x minus p, x minus q, and x minus r, where p, q, and r are the x-intercepts. So the x-intercepts that I have here are -3, 1, and 4. So I'm going to go ahead and fill in -3 would be a +3. +1 would be a -1 factor. And a +4 would be a -4 factor. And now what we want to do is we want to find a. That's what we're trying to find, our leading coefficient that would go with this graph. So what we need to do is we need to find another point on the graph. Oh, looky here. There it is right there. X is 0 and y is -4. F of x is the same thing as y. Okay, so I'm going to plug in -4 in for that point, or that y value. I'm looking for a. I'm going to plug a 0 in for x, a 0 in for this x, and a 0 in for this x. And then I'm going to solve this equation for a. So order of operations, excuse me, 0 plus 3 is 3. So a times 3, 0 minus 1 is -1, 0 minus 4 is -4. Now I can go ahead and multiply all those together. 3 times -1 is -3, times -4 is 12. So this would be 12a is equal to -4. Divide both sides by 12. And I get a is equal to -1/3. Oh, look at that. The leading coefficient is negative. So now what I do is I go back up to this equation right here, and I plug in what I found for a. So I'll have f of x. This is the equation of the cubic function as seen in the graph. -1/3. X plus 3, x minus 1, and x minus 4. And that is my equation for the cubic function. Okay, so you need your x-intercepts, and you need another random point, And then basically what you're doing is plugging everything in to find your A value or your leading coefficient. And we knew the leading coefficient was going to be negative because it's falling on the right-hand side. Okay, now what if I give you a list of ordered pairs and I don't give you the graph? Well, same thing, we do the exact same thing, but we won't really know if A is positive or negative until we figure it all out, because we have nothing to compare it to. So let's go ahead and get started. Remember that this is an x-intercept, so this is P, this is our Q, and this is our R, and then this is our random point. Now, how do I know this one is our random point and not the other ones? Well, when the y is 0, that means those are our x-intercepts, okay? So we'll start with f of x equals a, x minus p, so x minus a minus 2 would be a positive 2, x minus 0, and x minus 1. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to figure out use the random point to figure out what our a is, okay? So we know the x is 2 and the y is 1. I'm going to plug 1 in for y. I'm going to plug 2 in for x. Okay, so 1 in for y and 2 in for x. This would be 1 equals a. 2 plus 2 is 4. 2 minus 2 is, or 2 minus 0 is 2. 2 minus 1 is 1. 4 times 2 is 8. 8 times 1 is 8. This would be 8a equals 1. Divide both sides by 8, and a equals 1/8. So now the equation of our cubic function is going to be f of x equals 1/8, because we're going to replace our a, and then we're going to just write down all the x-intercepts. X plus 2, x minus 0, x minus 1. And that would be the equation of the cubic function. Now, some of you are going to ask me, do I have to write x minus 0? And I'm going to tell you, no, you don't have to. So you can say f of x equals 1/8 x, x plus 2, x minus 1. Okay, so that is also an acceptable answer. All right, that's all I have for you. I'll see you tomorrow so we can practice this some more.